to quote unquote defend themselves, or then at that point become the aggressor. I don't disagree with that at all.
Anyone else? Mr. Walker?
Yeah, hearing Ms. Riley's questioning to you, I mean, it's just, I mean, I feel like, you know, some are alleging that it's victim blaming you. I mean, didn't you bring it on yourself? Was that skirt kind of short that you were wearing?
Well, I think I heard that out of Mr. Allegretto when we were here the first night, and he said that, I believe he said that Mr. Minnick said I came at him aggressively. I know how I said it. I think there was, like I said, 2 or 3 other people standing right there. I don't know if they heard it or not. You could probably ask them. She was standing right there. I mean, he saw us outside right after this, and we were able to stand shoulder to shoulder still at this point. So one would think that if you got to the point to where you needed to defend yourself against this person and do that, you probably wouldn't be standing next to him a couple of minutes afterwards. Or if I said something aggressive, you would think that the other 2 or 3 people that were right around here, standing right here, Miss Barnes was sitting right there. I mean, you would have heard some sort of commotion in here, and there's, to my knowledge, outside of maybe the 2 people that were back there, and I haven't talked to Miss Gloria. I don't know if she heard anything or not, but she was 3 or 4 feet away. She would have heard something. I mean, Mr. Smith was 3 or 4 feet away. I mean, I don't know what he heard, but he would have heard something, and you know, I mean, there would have been a commotion. And I mean, I think when I had a conversation with Mr. Davis, he goes, "You must be the coolest cucumber that I know, because you would have never known that anything like that happened." I don't get emotional. I don't respond emotionally to things, so it doesn't help the situation.
I'm disappointed to hear that you're being victim blamed for using the word chicken shit. I don't care if it's poo-poo head, chicken shit, or whatever it is, for someone to take a word and then say, because you called me a name, because you used an aggressive word, I'm going to lay hands on you, still doesn't justify laying hands on you. So I'm disappointed in hearing that. And I apologize. I don't blame you for whatever words you used for being attacked. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Anyone else with a question? Ms. Riley?
Sir, I want to clear the air. Mr. Smith, I asked you that not to, and I don't know if Councilman, Walker, where he's going with this horse, victim blaming. I'm not victim blaming because I wasn't there. I'm just asking to get a clearer picture of what could have transpired. But trust me, I'm not victim blaming.
I'm not worried about that. I promise you, Ms. Riley.
Yeah.
Anyone else with a question for this witness? Seeing none, we will now move on to step 5.
And actually, Mr. Minnick, do you want the cross-examination? Okay. And counsel, before we move on to step 6, which would be a statement by Mr. Minnick, and then step 7 would be cross-examination. Does the council want to call any witnesses of their own, since they're the one that called the hearing? So,
Anyone from the council wish to call a witness?
okay. So we'll go to step 6, which is a statement by the junior board member, Mr. Minnick.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Minnick. I live at 106 Wayne Circle. Right before the last meeting, Mr. Burns gave me a call and let me know what was going to happen. And he recommended that I speak with another attorney about what I should say. And I was kind of shocked. I'm like, why would I need to talk to an attorney? He goes, well, given who you're dealing with here, I recommend you seek counsel. So I did. Spoke to 2, and both of them advised me to say nothing and take no questions. But I think it's important for you to understand all of what came out, what transpired to this event, what led to it. I think the first part was the actual meeting. I've heard some things about how bullying people in the meetings. And what happened was that I spoke with the city clerk and asked her how the meetings were supposed to be held. And she told me, sent me an email that they were to be held by Robert's Rules of Order. I spoke with the city attorney about the resolution 2025-3, which was your resolution to form the committee. I spoke with Ms. Kopp. There was a line in there that said that only one meeting was going to be publicly noticed, and that meeting would have public input. So I asked her directly, so does this mean that only one meeting we're going to have public input? And she told me yes. And this is the guidance that I went forward. After I was elected to the chairman, I went over Robert's Rules of Order with all of the people. I know it seems a little bit strict for you guys for your meetings, but we went by, and the first meeting, we actually went over almost all of the sections except the last 3. We voted on 36 motions in 2 hours and 45 minutes. We got a lot of work done. We moved along, as Mr. Peters said. We came to the second meeting with only the 3 left. Having been told by the city attorney that we were only going to take public input on the first meeting, the one that's publicly noticed. And I don't believe the second one was publicly noticed. That's what I went on. So I have received an email from Mr. Burns telling me that there was a misinterpretation in the first resolution, that the city charter section 6 said that public notice would happen at all meetings. So he and I discussed it today and came up with a solution that we could easily fix if I'm still on the committee after this evening or this afternoon. We only voted on one section. We postponed one section and we voted on one section. So we would only be addressing that one section in the next meeting. The other section that was in the 3 remaining, there was no action taken. So there was no reason for that. So as we were voting or debating the last resolution or the motion, I got a text from Mr. Smith that said public input. And we were in the middle of debating that particular thing, and it was the last one, and I just shook my head no. So immediately after the meeting, I took the resolution down to him. He was standing right there. I said, look, this is what she told me. This is what the resolution says. And he looked down at me and said, well, you're the chairman. You can do anything you want to. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, you're just a chicken shit. And that's exactly the way he said it. And on advice from council, that's all I want to say about that. We did go outside. He followed me outside. I told him I didn't want him calling me names. Said that he had in the past. Called me a liar at a city council meeting. He said, yeah, and I apologize for that. And I said, you called me a liar or a chicken shit in that room there? And he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And then he made some comment about me never having friends after that. That was it. City manager asked me to come back to his office and talk to him for 5 minutes. So that's pretty much it. On advice from council, I'm not going to admit to doing anything that I could be charged for. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll go same procedure here. Mr. Browning, questions for this witness?
No.
Ms. DeBerry.
Well, I have a question, but you just said that you wouldn't answer it, so may I ask the question?
You can ask whatever questions you'd like of him, and he can choose to answer or not answer as he chooses.
Why did you lay hands on him?
I am not going to answer that question.
Any additional questions, Ms. DeBerry?
There were witnesses. You lay hands on him.
Is that a question?
Was there witnesses?
Were there
Was there witnesses?
I have no idea. Mr. Berry, you have another question? Or are we just going to stare at each other?
No, I'm not staring at you. You're looking at me. I'm looking at you, waiting to answer the question correctly.
I've already told you I'm not going to answer your question.
Well, then, thank you very much.
Mr. Jeter.
I didn't, but I guess I got 5 kids ages 4 to 12, and if they ran downstairs with any of these kind of stories, I'd say, was anybody bleeding? Can you answer that question? Was anybody bleeding?
Bleeding?
Bleeding.
Not to
Broken bones? Okay, leave us alone.
Mr. Merrill.
Did you feel threatened?
Threatened would not be a word that I'd use. Surprised, kind of shocked. That would, way I would describe it.
Did you feel like you were the aggressor? Did you feel like you were
I
defending
was
yourself?
not
in
the
any way?
aggressor.
Okay.
Ms. Riley?
I don't really have any questions, but I fully understand if your counselor has advised you, not to answer any questions, but, sir, I just want to tell you that, I'm still, trying to get through this situation, and all I can tell you is, again, with both you and Mr. Smith, I think you all both well-respected members of the community, and you're former council members. And honestly, I just hate to see something like this, of this nature transpire. I honestly do. I don't really have any questions, but I just, just for the sake of, again, and I'll put it back on the city of Fort Walton Beach and the residents, and I'm sure, regardless of whatever, the history you have, I don't care about a watch group, I don't care about whatever. All I want to say is, you guys have given up your service and your time to the city of Fort Walton Beach. And it's just, for me, it's so displeasing to hear that we have to sit here before you on the hearing, and you guys are giving up so much of your life work trying to get back to the city of Fort Walton Beach and the residents. And I'm so sorry all of this could have transpired.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Schmidt?
Just a question on any conversations about the allegation inside City Hall after this alleged incident with any city employees?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay, so
City, no. No, I don't think so.
don't think so?
Well, I don't know if, none that I can think of.
Okay, so there was no conversation with city employees about this allegation after the alleged incident happened inside City Hall?
Not that I know of.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walker?
Would you say that your non-answer is an answer in itself? I mean, Mr.
You
Berry.
can take it for whatever you want to, Mr. Walker. I've been
I'm not
advised
done
by
with my
council not to
question.
say
Not done
it.
with my question, Mr. Minnick.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Berry asked you a question, and you said you refused to answer it because if the answer was negative, you could have said no, and that would not have been self-incriminating. You didn't say I'm pleading the fifth. You just said I'm not going to respond to the question. So actually, I take it back. I don't have any questions for him. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
And Mr. Burns, if you could, just because Mr. Walker added that last part at the end there about the Fifth Amendment, if you could kind of clarify that.
He did not plead the fifth. Pleading the fifth is something you would do, and you can elect to do that in certain situations, but I think he said your counsel advised you not to do that, correct? Is that?
My counsel advised me not to say anything.
Okay. So,
But I think it's incumbent upon me to kind of give you a little bit of history of how this came about and how it's really a misunderstanding. And I find it interesting that, the city attorney is not here. She's the one that signed the document. She's the one that put that section in there. And that, speaking with Mr. Burns, I get a different answer. So who do we talk to? That's kind of a question that I've heard, is who do we talk to? Mr. Burns has been great advice to me when we talked about how to remedy the mistake made by the resolution. But, it's not his advice that came up to begin with. Possibly if he had done the resolutions, that it wouldn't have been in there and we wouldn't have this problem to begin with. It's kind of like the fire assessment.
All right, Mr. Minnick, at this point, I'm sorry, you have an additional question?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Was Robert's rules ever waived during this?
Yes,
Okay.
it was, and I'll tell you about that if you'd like to know.
No need. So, as a chairman, you decided to waive Robert's rules, which is good. So, as chairman, do you believe you could have allowed public comment?
I was told that public comment was only going to be done in one meeting, and that's what I went by. And honestly, in my opinion, Councilman Schmidt, if someone sends you a text in the middle of debate, it's not the time to stop and take public comment. The motion had already been made, we were debating, that was the end. We were done with that. So, I will tell you that should I go on with the committee, that we'll fix it. Once again, I was just going by what I was told.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Mr. Minnick, at this point, you're able to call witnesses if you would choose to.
Mr. Holmes, you want to say anything or not? I will. All right, Mr. Holmes.
And Mr. Holmes, just so you know, once you get done speaking, they can cross-examine you.
That's right. Michael Holmes, 114 Evans Lane. I was at the meeting that day, and it was a quick meeting. And my recollection was when the meeting was over, I was talking to, I'm not even sure who it was, or Mr. Davis or someone. And I heard a little bit out in the audience and just curious. I gazed out there, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Minnick, I don't know who else was there, but they were in very close proximity of each other. It kind of looked like maybe Mr. Smith stepped up in him. But then I went back to the conversation respectfully. And as Mr. Smith stated, yeah, that's correct. They walked outside, Mr. Peters, myself, I think it was just me and Mr. Peters, we were talking about working on his car because he had some issues and stuff on it, and we were just carrying on some chit chat. And they continued on down the breezeway, and there again, there was some words said, and they expressed comments, and I didn't listen to them because I was talking to Mr. Peters. And then pretty shortly after that, somebody, Mr. Davis or somebody summoned Mr. Minnick, Mr. Beatty, and somebody else from me. And that's what I saw as far as that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Browning, questions? Sir. Mr. Barrett?
Yes, I have a question. There's two meetings. I was present at both of them. And both were posted. And my question is, why do you say that it was not posted? The second meeting wasn't posted.
I didn't state that.
Mr. Barrett, I believe you're referring to Mr. Minnick, who said that earlier.
I apologize. But
I think a meeting being posted on our city's website and then being publicly noticed are different things, and that's what he was referring to. Mr. Minnick, at least.
And do you recall that we were not going to be having public comments during that meeting?
The agenda was a continuation from the first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think we went back to the beginning and accepted the Robert's Rules of Orders, the consent agenda, and all of whatever was involved with that preamble. I assumed that it was just a continuation of that meeting.
Thank you.
So did I think there was a place for public comment? No. I guess if I didn't know it was going to be contentious, I could have made a motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order. But I had heard nothing about anything, as far as what people thought about the entire meetings. We have not, or personally, I haven't had any input from anybody about the charter review. I will say, as Mr. Peters stated, we 35 or 36 motions in less than 3 hours. We went through a lot, but it was due to the guidance that we had in the structure of the meeting. It was Robert's Rules of Order. People had the chance to speak. There was a couple of times, as we know it can be done up there, we kind of skirted them, but it was a very well-run meeting, and it was a business meeting like it's supposed to be, and we accomplished what we needed to.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeter?
No, sir.
Mr. Merrill? Ms. Riley? Mr. Schmidt? Mr. Walker? Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Burns?
Do you have any more witnesses, Mr. Minnick? So step 10, then will be a final statement by the junior board member, and then step 11 will be deliberation after that.
We have a good committee. You all appointed them, every one of you. And every member had equal opportunity to speak under the rules. We got a lot done. I think we can accomplish what you've asked us to do in one more meeting. It was originally set up for 6 months. I think that the August 4th meeting we can finish up and give you recommendations that you can deliberate on. But we, as a committee, we're volunteers. We're just citizens. come in on our own time to do the city business that you ask us to do. And in my opinion, we should be protected from being harassed and cursed at and acted aggressively toward. And that's my feeling about that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burns?
Okay, it's now up to the council to deliberate amongst yourselves, make the motion, and that'll be that.
All right. Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir, Mr. Schmidt.
You know, I'm going to make a motion to remove Mr. Minnick from this board with the one who appointed, I believe it was Mr. Browning, to make a replacement.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
A motion by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry, to remove Mr. Minnick from the board and allow Mr. Browning to choose his replacement. Further discussion, Mr. Schmidt?
Yeah, I'm just struggling with the information that I was understanding after talking to our city clerk that there was a conversation that was had between Mr. Minnick and our clerk. I don't want to speak for the clerk on what she said that conversation was or was not about, but it was very clear that there was a conversation between Mr. Minnick and Ms. Kim Barnes. Today, talking to Mr. Minnick, he's not aware of any conversation that was had inside City Hall talking to the city employees. So because of that, there's a lack of trust, and that's why I made my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Jeter?
Speaking against the motion, is that what we're on?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think you all know how I feel about this. I think it's a waste of time, to be honest with you. I think Ms. Riley has made some very great comments tonight, and I have the utmost respect for both of you. I've known both of you for close to 30 years. Met you, both of you, when I first moved down here from Kentucky. So I have the utmost respect for both of you. I don't think being here tonight solves anything. I don't think being here tonight really accomplishes anything. I think it's very, personally childish and immature that we're even here. If someone lays hands on you, you go file a police report, you file a battery assault, you can file a verbal harassment assault. Y'all deal with that kind of stuff outside of here. And I just personally want to let Mr. Davis know, our city manager, we got some great things to accomplish, and I promise you this city is on the verge of getting to Fort Walton Beach 2.0. It's not always like this. I apologize if you even have to sit through this, because I'm pretty sure you're more of a go out back behind the woodshed kind of guy. So I apologize, but I also just want to say I will not be supporting the motion. It's not going to accomplish anything. Let's move forward. Let's work together. Let's get some things done as a community, and let's start having some productive meetings, not these tattle. I won't even tell you what I would say to my kids if I was doing this right now, because I don't want to.
I think we all know
but my dad,
what you would say.
Yeah, my dad raised me. We grew up in construction, and it's funny we've said this word, and I'm not going to say it because my mom's probably watching, but you take chicken, that word, and every day you wake up and you try to turn it into chicken salad. So how do we take this whole situation that's chicken, whatever you said, and turn it into chicken salad? And it's move on. Let's go.
Anyone else wishing? Mr. Walker?
Yeah. Mr. Jeter, Councilman Jeter there mentioned not accomplishing anything. I'm actually concerned about what we're accomplishing if we don't remove him. Mr. Davis, if you have an employee that joins the city that you hire, the hiring manager you hire, bring them on, and they're here in a probationary period and they attack a fellow employee, what is your course of action with that employee? Is zero tolerance a policy of the city?
We have a handbook. I don't necessarily haven't memorized our handbook, but I have zero tolerance.
Okay.
But
so what does that result for that employee who laid hands
it's a
on?
very subjective question. I mean,
Sure.
Not knowing both sides of the situation.
But you do learn both sides of it, and you learn that
Of course,
one.
if somebody's out of line, then we handle it.
Mhm. And what would that handling be, you think?
I mean, if I personally witnessed it,
Sure.
I'm not as gentle as I look, so I handle it on the spot. I didn't see this.
Sure.
Otherwise, I would have addressed it, but it would have been a police report.
Right. So back to Mr. Jeter's statement that we're not accomplishing anything. What I'm concerned that we're accomplishing is that we're showing city employees and the entire staff that we may tolerate from council members, elite, esteemed council members, to lay hands on customers, but we won't allow them to because it'll end in immediate termination. So that's what we would be accomplishing if Mr. Minnick is not removed. That's what we'll be accomplishing and showing all of the staff that you can lay hands on them and he'll be treated differently than you. And that's very concerning to me. And as far as a good committee goes, accomplishing great things to come. One of the second meeting where I understand this happened, there were 2 motions that passed and are going to be brought forward to council. And they are to recommend removal of the 2 charter amendments that over 6,000 voters overwhelmingly voted in favor. So to hear that a committee, and they're not just of citizens, granted they are citizens, they're well-known insiders, Mr. Minnick, Mr. Holmes, Mr. Peters, Mr. Beatty, they're well-known in opposition to those charter amendments that were overwhelmingly passed by the citizens. And now this staff, this committee that's been put together is going to be bringing back to this council those recommendations. So I do look forward to whatever comes of it, this council's vote on overturning the will of the people or representing it in a special meeting. But I prefer that we accomplish establishing zero tolerance for laying hands upon fellow employees, customers, citizens. I would hope that this council would not support that, and a vote yes will be demonstrating that. So I'll be voting with the motion.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on this motion? Mr. Merrill.
I would say, we were asked in your email, Mr. Smith, to do our due diligence. I made several calls to the people on the committee, 5 total on the committee. I asked about the Mike being a bully, which was in the email. To that point, nobody, at least when they talked to me, I even brought it up, said that. I talked to the city attorney, I talked to a police officer about the situation and said, hey, how would this play out? Because in my quest to do due diligence, especially if our integrity is going to come under question based on how we vote, I think the due diligence for me was, when I talked to the attorney, we're not here to find if there was legal laws broken. If a law was broken, was there an assault? Our job was to find if this behavior was unbecoming of an appointed member. In doing all this though, I feel without a police report, without all the facts, without witnesses, it's a he said and he said, and I'm not claiming that you were the aggressor, and therefore I feel like I can't claim that you were the aggressor. Did you feel like you needed to defend yourself? Did you feel like he was out of line? And for those reasons, and especially, and I'm gonna say it, and you guys may not agree with it, but I agree with Mr. Jeter, there's no injury here, which I do think would elevate it. And so here we have a he said, and we're gonna argue it out. It's not a good look for our city. And without having those facts, I don't see where our integrity comes into question by not moving forward with this. So that's where I stand on it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on this?
I'd like to make just a very brief statement.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Riley.
It would be so nice, maybe before we formulated this committee, that we should have had a conflict resolution, slight training, okay, to get us through this. But just want to say I use conflict resolution basically because of the fact that I'm still a little baffled about how this could have come about, and I'm baffled that we're here at this hearing, and not to disrespect either party that's involved. I just feel like we're better than this. I really feel like we are, and me personally, because of the fact that every one of the members that are sitting here, all 7 of us, we chose the person that we felt that we would have the most confidence, the person that would be able to gather at the table together, intelligent minds together, and try to get through these resolutions, right, as swiftly as possible, making the best choices with the people of the city of Fort Walton Beach in mind, because that's what those amendments were put out there, behind the voices of the people. And I think that, with us selecting these 7 members to come together and come up with, the best decision possible, it makes no sense that we would have to stop in the midst of this behind something that could have been avoided. Obviously it wasn't, that's why we're here. But on the other hand, I feel confident enough that we chose the people that we felt could come to the table. It makes no sense for me, and I personally, I can't support just getting rid of Mr. Mack based on whatever transpired, because honestly, I feel like, if it was really that heartfelt, probably charges would have been based. And I honestly feel like the two of you possibly can work this out in a graceful manner. That's what I would like to see, work it out in a graceful manner. Because if you're not been doing this in the past, maybe it's time for you two to come to the table and figure out a way how do you move forward. Because both of you, again, I'm gonna say it again, you're well respected former councilman. And I always say intelligent people can agree to disagree. And so it would be my wish that you all moving forward will possibly be able to, kind of resolve this divisiveness. And let's move on with the business of the people of the city of Fort Walton Beach. I can't support it.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Schmidt.
Yeah, I appreciate the responses, Mr. Merrill, Ms. Riley. But the information I used to make this motion was the information I heard in the hearing that concerned me. The information about not remembering if there was conversation that happened in the city hall about the allegation. So I appreciate y'all's due process of getting information and those kind of things, but I'm concerned about that. And that's why I made the motion. If we're not making these conversations inside City Hall, but there's people on City Hall staff that remember having conversations about these allegations, there's a trust issue for me. I understand there's bigger issues to Friday at 4 o'clock. We got big budgets. But I've been here for 8 years where me and Mr. Holmes and Ms. Jameson one time discussing a water meter, that had the cap where people were trying to rig the water meters. So local politics is a lot of potholes and messy things. And I think it's very important that we address them and address the character that was based off this motion.
I don't appreciate my exclusion from that conversation, but fair enough. Mr. Walker. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand as well. All right. Anyone else wish to speak on this motion before you take a vote? Council, please vote.
Ms. Ryan?
The motion does not pass. It fails 3-4. Mr. Burns, do we need a subsequent motion?
Technically, you would not, because the proceeding would end, but if you feel it's necessary, one of the board members, they could, since the meeting has not ended yet.
Do we need a motion for no action?
No, you only need a motion for no action.
Could another board member make a different motion?
It's y'all's meeting, so yes.
Right.
Yes.
I just meant
Yes.
in either direction.
In either direction. If that's the proper.
But no action is the other direction.
No action will mean you decide not to take any disciplinary action. So.
Got it.
Councilman Walker.
I'll make a motion that city staff change the internal policy of 0 tolerance to 1 strike is okay.
Yeah, I would say that the internal operations of the city would be left to the city manager.
Very good. Thank you.
And I'm certain that you could have a conversation with him. And it sounded from his earlier statements that he probably would agree with
Thank you, sir.
what you're saying.
For a point of clarification, one of the first assignments that Ms. Kopp and I had back in 2023 actually was to research whether or not the employee handbook applied to the city council or any of the boards, and we are finding that it does not. So, because y'all are not employees of the city technically, and neither are junior board members.
Fair enough. Does anyone else wish to make a motion about this hearing? Seeing none, we are adjourned.